Good morning, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome back to Emergency Management Associates. Coming to you from the Area Command, 392 miles west of Kitty Hawk Beach, North Carolina. Can you all hear me? Sound. You guys can't hear me. Doggone it all. Hello, can you hear me? How about now? Can you hear me now? We should not have an echo now. Sound is low and echo. Oh, darn it. Darn. How about now? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? We should be getting good control now. Dennis says yes. Okay, cool. We got good sound. That's great. Okay, we've been working on the sound issue. We had problems Friday. We had problems all through the weekend, and I'm sorry about that. Folks, and you got an echoing going on. I don't get that. I just don't get that. Okay. Let me try something else. Do we have an echo now? Albert Sanchez says echo. Betty Ibarra is saying echo. Do you have an echo now? No echo now. Good. Awesome. Okay, let's go on with our program then. Folks, earlier this afternoon, just after 5 p.m. Eastern Time, we had a 5.5 magnitude earthquake that hit in Southern California, hit near Ojai, California, east of Santa Barbara County. It was felt over a wide area, as you can see. We've now had probably 100 aftershocks. This is only half of that picture of aftershocks that we have now. The highlighted earthquake here is the 5.5, and it was soundly reconstructed as a 5.1 by the USGS. Almost immediately down to a 5.1. Right after it first occurred, we had SagePup that called us. SagePup called us and said we've had probably a 6.1 to a 6.5 magnitude earthquake. He and several of his friends got the same alert message on their phones. That's what we got at the beginning of this whole fiasco today in Southern California, Ojai, California. As you can see, it was in the mountains, and this was east of Ojai, California, east of Santa Barbara County. You can see all of the earthquakes here. At first, the earthquakes were a 1.1, 1.2, 2.5, 2.7 variety. As the afternoon in California drew on, the earthquakes got stronger. The aftershocks from that earthquake grew stronger. 4.5, 4.7 earthquakes. Now, folks, yes, we do get aftershocks of an earthquake 5.1 in duration. Folks, we do get aftershocks of 4.7 after a 5.1. But I truly believe this was a much larger earthquake. Right now, I do not have any data supporting that. but I hope in the coming hours that we'll have that data. This was felt over a wide area. Now, over in Santa Barbara, they did not feel it, where Sage Pup was. He and his friends did not feel it. But folks, we have reports all over, from Ojai down into Los Angeles, telling us that they felt that earthquake all over the Southern California. We had reports from over in Ventura. We had reports all over that area. Hold on, let me pull up the reports here, and I'll read some of the reports to you. This is quite astounding. Okay, just a second, let me pull this earthquake up. We've had 3.8s, 3.9s, 4.8s all over the scales. 3.9s, 3.5s, 2.4s, 3.5s, literally all over the place, guys. 3.2s, 3.0s, more 3.5s in Southern California. Again, the U.S. Geological Survey downgraded it to a 5.1. I'm going to read off some of the people that gave us information. From Ojai, knocked items off of shelves, and it was extremely violent and loud, meaning the plates, the earthquake faults were rubbing, the sides of the fault were rubbing against each other to create that noise. From Santa Paula, blasting music, thought it was just the bass, but suddenly things started falling off my shelves. Heard it before I felt it. Strong jolt, then swaying. That was also from Santa Paula. Satakoy, pretty strong rolling earthquake, lasted about 30 seconds. Also from Satakoy, 18 kilometers from the epicenter. My house jumped and shook like moving dominoes, rolling hills. From Satakoy, very strong shaking and rocking nearly threw me out of my chair. It lasted a while. From Ventura, largest amplitude and loudest earthquake that I have ever felt in my life. Ventura, heavy shaking. Ventura, big jolt followed by rolls. Also from Ventura, 10 miles east of Ojai, here is west side Ventura. This was the most violent earthquake I have felt. I've been out here 34 years. Wild. Stuff was falling all over everywhere. Also from Ventura, very strong, shook the house. Felt 3 aftershocks, short burst of shake. Built quickly and then jolts. That's from Ventura. From Fillmore, California, sitting in my trailer and it started shaking. This one was not a rolling feeling, but rather a shake. From Camarillo, I was on the second floor of my house. There was a strong jolt and then rolling for what felt like a minute. No damage, nothing felt. Only light swaying. The animals, cats and dogs, were all freaked out. From Oxnard in Los Angeles, it was a violent shake for 2 seconds. Camarillo again, shook our whole home in Camarillo. From Camarillo, a few picture frames fell over, shaking and rolling sensation. Carpinteria, got the alert, then felt the strong rolling. Folks, that's what we've been getting information on. People actually got the earthquake alert seconds before the shaking started. In Moore Park, just north of Los Angeles, We talk about earthquakes in Moore Park all the time. About 2:40 p.m., I'm in Moore Park. It was rolling. Moore Park. Upstairs moved more. Stairs initial thump, then could feel the room shake beneath my feet. Camarillo. It was bad. Casa Conejo. Quick and strong. Hard to walk and stand. Casa Conejo. Loud jolt, gentle tremors, no more than 10 seconds long. Heard it slightly while eating at the table, thought the dog bumped into the table. Monticello. Minor shaking. Newberry Park. Received alert. Sharp shock seconds later in Thousand Oaks. We're near Lynn Road and the 101, but on the south side of the freeway. Hard shake, Simi Valley. Whoa, Simi Valley. Someone there also said shaking for about 7 to 10 seconds, rolling as opposed to jolting. Just jolt followed by rolling. We felt a strong jolt in Thousand Oaks. Shaking, lamps were swaying, everyone in the house felt it. This was 43 kilometers from the epicenter in Thousand Oaks. Lake of the Woods, we felt 2 big jolts. From Santa Barbara, I'm under the table. What timing? Definitely felt. Rolling earthquake. Rolling Santa Susana. Fraser Park. Fraser Park, guys, is where the San Andreas Fault meets the Garlock Fault. Where the San Andreas Fault meets the Garlock, that is Fraser Park. Fraser Park shook for a while. Nothing inside fell. Hard jerking, hoping no damage outside. Westlake Village just swayed. Another one from Santa Susana, a bit startled but all okay in Simi Valley. I felt the rocking in Simi Valley, very east end off of Cooner. It lasted several seconds. Strong motion, nice ride, an adrenaline rush. Oak Park, shaking, rolling, nothing fell. No damage that I'm aware of. Massive jolt, felt like a ground impact. Oak Park, shook our house so hard, lasted for a few seconds afterwards. Also from Oak Park, this app failed to recognize or notify of this quake. It was a strong jolt and it lasted for 10 minutes after that. Agora, 53 kilometers from the epicenter. Definitely felt shaking in Agora Hills. Lasted only 4 to 5 seconds. Those are just several of almost 300 felt reports on the EMSC. 27 kilometers northwest of Oxnard, California. Population center 207,000. Where it was felt, the epicenter was 5 kilometers east of Ojai. Population about 7,600. That's what happened today in Southern California. Now I want to just do a brief update. Southern California got hit by a tropical storm today. Hurricane Hillery that came up the western side of Baja California. When it was down in Cabo San Lucas near the point of Baja California, it was a Category 4 storm. The water temperature was nearly 100 degrees down there at Cabo. Within several hours after leaving Cabo, it was headed north. It went from a documented Category 4 to a Category 3. Several more hours went by. It was downgraded to a Category 2. This morning about 3 a.m., it was still down off the northern part of Baja California. It was downgraded to a Category 1. Just about 8 a.m. this morning, it was downgraded to a tropical storm with wind gusts of less than 64 miles per hour. Holistic Nutrition Nurse gave us another $10 super chat. Thank you so much for that. We really appreciate that, and God bless you for that. Folks, that same hurricane downgraded now to a tropical storm. Why? Because the waters off the coast of San Diego, down in Imperial Beach, or what they call IB, were down about 68 to 70 degrees Fahrenheit. 300 miles before that, in Cabo, it was more like 100. So in 400 miles, the temperature difference was by 30 degrees. As these hurricanes hit cooler waters, they fall apart. It's the warmer waters that the hurricanes survive in. As it approached Tijuana and San Diego, it was a tropical storm with wind gusts less than 65 miles per hour. When it hit San Diego this afternoon, wind gusts are 35 to 50 miles per hour tops. There was a lot of wind. There was also a lot of rain. As the storm moved through San Diego this afternoon and approached Los Angeles, people were advised all over California, in Southern California, they were advised to stay off the roads. This was still a very powerful storm. Los Angeles Fire Department had reached out to their swift water rescue teams. They were also on standby. Because of the possibility of power poles and power lines going down in the strong winds, Southern California, now I can't even remember the name of the California Edison. California Edison that provides power to Los Angeles, and San Diego Gas and Electric were expecting to be having to deal with power lines and power out. Fortunately, that did not happen so far. The rains will move into Las Vegas tonight. All throughout the Southern California desert, all over the Mojave Desert and Death Valley, even over into Victorville, Barstow. That area could still see a lot of rain and heavy water, deep water on the roadways. If you are traveling, you need to be very, very careful. You need to be very, very careful. They're telling people to stay off the roads through at least tomorrow afternoon. After that, the remnants of Hurricane Hillery will move north. By tomorrow afternoon, San Diego County can be sure that you will probably have winds in no more excess than 15 miles per hour. The rain will stop, the skies will clear, and you may have temperatures up to 75 degrees in San Diego. By tomorrow afternoon, the rains should stop in Los Angeles. There in spots you might see cloudiness. You might get an occasional spray of rain in the clouds, but that's just about all. Drizzle. Hopefully by tomorrow afternoon, Southern California will have been shed of Hurricane Hillary, but the storm is still moving north. Sacramento can still see shreds of Hurricane Hillary as the storm progresses north. Going up into northern part of California, the mountains of northern California may see some snow, in the very least heavy rain, and heavy rain going into Oregon and Washington by the end of this weekend. Folks, this still is not a storm to just blink our eyes at and go on about our business. You need to be very wary of what this storm could do. Even though the storm has been over land by the time it reaches northern California and up into Oregon and Washington. The storm can change directions, and it can also change the fury of the storm. As it passes over water in large lakes, it could gather more water in the storm, and you don't need to see that either. Hopefully, it will put out the fires in California, Washington, and Oregon. We don't want to be dealing with fires any longer. We've had some very bad fires. Fires are still a big thing in Oregon right now and in Northern California. Hopefully this weather will quell these firestorms on the ground. Lightning may be a big deal as well. Lightning has been seen all over San Diego County since early last night, and it continued on throughout the night into this morning in San Diego County. There has been some lightning seen in Los Angeles as well. I don't believe this storm is finished with Southern California until at least late tomorrow afternoon or tomorrow night. Does anybody have any questions? Michael McKinney says they still have lightning where he is. Okay? This is still a big deal. This storm is not a nice storm. Hillary is not a nice lady. Okay? Hillary is not a nice lady. And that's kind of a side whack on Miss Clinton. Lamb is Light was telling Linda Covington that we're talking about the California quake. Does anybody have any questions? Tomas is telling us about a 2.0 over there in the Ojai area and the surrounding area of that area. Protect Yourself says, will it hit the Bay Area? The storm will hit the Bay Area, but the main part of the storm will be over the mountains, not just directly over the San Francisco Bay Area. You may get a side swipe from that tropical storm in the Bay Area of San Francisco. I don't believe you'll see any heavy rain in San Francisco, California. Enlightened Truth Seeker is asking, where will that seismic energy go next, Ron? Folks, I believe it hasn't finished in Santa Barbara, the Ojai area. Santa Barbara didn't feel much, but maybe a 2.0 magnitude quake. Not much. But I don't think that energy has left the area. This could be, folks, this could be a foreshock. 10% of the time when we have an earthquake of any kind that comes up to 5.0 or larger, 5% of the time they are foreshocks of a much larger earthquake. So folks, I think right now that it could be a foreshock. If not, we could see energy going north. I don't think any of this energy will go south. It could, but I doubt it. We have energy coming up from Central America and Mexico. We have seismic energy going north from Colombia, Central America, and into Mexico. And I have a feeling, this is just a gut feeling, when we get that 6.0 energy into Central America, it may continue into Southern California. That's my gut feeling. We also have energy that is coming out of Alaska southbound into Queen Charlotte Island and Vancouver, British Columbia. We do have that energy. Now, with that said, let me go to the USGS map and show you what happened over in the I'm sorry, I didn't mean to go away there. Over in the Gulf of Alaska, well, not the Gulf of Alaska, the Aleutian Islands today. Nikolsky, Alaska, guys. Nikolsky, Alaska. Over here in the Andreanof Islands, we had a 4.0 earthquake here. Okay? As we go over here, we had a 4.5 over here just south of Sandpoint, Alaska. This, folks, was a aftershock of a 6.9 earthquake from several months ago. A 4.5 earthquake today just south of Sandpoint, Alaska. Now, they took down an earthquake over here near Nikolsky, Alaska. It was a 5.0 earthquake. They took it down. What a bunch of crap. Nikolsky, Alaska had a 5.0 earthquake down here in the southern peninsula of Alaska today. Okay? For them to take this down is abhorrent. Okay? It's just one more strike against the agency. And they say, oh, it didn't happen. We don't have to put up earthquakes if we don't want to. Folks, that 5.0 was a strong earthquake, and they have no business taking it down. It did happen. Up here in Central Alaska, this is Beaver, Alaska. This is a 1.4 minor tremor. Beaver, Alaska. You notice we don't have any other earthquakes up here on the north shore of Alaska. We haven't had any earthquakes at all there for quite some time. Okay? Right now they're not showing any earthquakes whatsoever down here in southeastern Alaska, and yet we have about 2 volcanoes over here. We have 2 volcanoes over here, Edgecombe and Wardell volcanoes, and they are shaking. There are tremors and minor earthquakes hitting Edgecombe and Wardell volcanoes here. They'll never show them, will they? Earlier this week, we had some earthquakes down here at Queen Charlotte Island. We had some earthquakes over here at Vancouver, British Columbia. We've had earthquakes all over Washington and Oregon, although they're just not showing them now. Go figure. Over here in eastern Washington, this is a 2.5 magnitude earthquake in Desert Air, Washington. This is the 3rd earthquake of this kind in Desert Air. What you need to know about Desert Air, folks, is that we believe this area is a volcanic area. There's a lot of lava here. A lot of lava here. And I believe we may be seeing earthquakes here caused by magma down beneath all of that lava here. Why do I say that? Where did the lava come from? Where did the lava come from? It had to come from a volcano, and folks, over the years, because of weather and water, yes, water used to inhabit this area, but weather, great big huge glaciers shaped this area, and they wore down the mountains. They literally chopped down the mountains as the glaciers moved. And as the water came through, it moved the earth as well. So the volcano structure, the stratovolcano structure, wore down. And what we're getting now are earthquakes in this area. We may be seeing volcanic action here. It remains to be seen whether we have uplift going on or not. But we are watching earthquakes here in this area. There have been many of them this week. There have been many earthquakes all over this area. As we go east, I want to show you this. This is Stanley, Idaho. This is a 3.3 earthquake. This is also the western side of the Yellowstone volcano. The western side of the Yellowstone volcano. The magma chambers here, guys. The magma chambers here. USGS and some other agency call this Stanley, Idaho as southern Idaho. It is not. This is central Idaho. Central Idaho. Going further east. This is Lima, Montana. This is a 3.5 earthquake in Lima, Montana, north of Yellowstone. It's not the first earthquake here, and it won't be the last. We've had many earthquakes hit Lima, Montana before. There are many other earthquakes in this area and many other earthquakes over here in Yellowstone itself. They're just not showing them. Okay? They just don't like being honest with anybody. Over here, Rachel, Nevada. Central Nevada. This is a 1.3 tremor here. South of there, this is Indian Springs, Nevada. Then we go northwest here. This is Goldfield, Nevada. Goldfield, Nevada, guys, is a volcanic area. We go north. This is Mina, Nevada. Remember when we got earthquakes here 2 years ago? 6.5 magnitude earthquake near Mina and Tonopah, Nevada. What is this? This is the Adobe Hills Monte Cristo Volcanic Range. That's why we continue to see earthquakes and tremors in this area. Today, it wasn't anything more than a 1.3 tremor here in Mina, Tonopah, Nevada area. Okay? That's what's going on. Let's go over and take a look at San Francisco. Okay? East of San Francisco. This is Pleasant Hill, California. Folks, this is on the Calaveras Fault. A 1.8 tremor on the Calaveras Fault. We go southwest to this fault, the Hayward Fault. This is north of San Leandro, California, a 1.7 tremor. Southwest of San Francisco Bay. This is on the San Andreas Fault. A 1.5 tremor here in Portola Valley, California, on the San Andreas. We go further south, southeast of Monterey Bay, California, on the San Andreas Fault. Tres Pinos, California, a 1.8 tremor. 2 years ago, we had a 5.0 earthquake in Tres Pinos, California. It broke a pipe at their oil refinery and caused a massive fire there. South of there, This is the Pinnacles. This is an oil and gas production area, and it's a volcanic area as well. A 2.5 earthquake today. South of the Pinnacles, this is still in the southern end of the Pinnacles area. This is a 0.3 microquake. We go south still on the San Andreas Fault. Guess where this is? New Ydra, California. It's a 2.5 on the San Andreas Fault. We continue south. Guess where this is? The earthquake capital of California. A 0.4 magnitude microquake. Earlier this week we had a 3.9 magnitude earthquake here in Parkfield, California. That is a big deal. A huge deal at the earthquake capital of California. Now, we go all the way down here. Okay? This is where that swarm has happened this afternoon near Ojai, California. South and north of there, this is Isla Vista. When Sage Pup called me, he asked me if I had seen anything here in this area. Because like I said, he and one of his friends got an alert notice on their phone saying there was a 6.5 earthquake on their phone. He asked me if I knew of anything, and no, it hadn't come through yet. All I had here was this 1.0 near Isla Vista, California. Then suddenly, within a matter of a minute or so, after talking to Sage Pup, all of a sudden, all this stuff starts happening. At first, all they showed was this earthquake here, the 5.1 that they reduced it to. And all these other tremors and aftershocks started happening. At first we had nothing but tremors, 1.2, 1.5, 1.7. Then they got up, 2.5, 2.7, 2.8, and they continued going up. Folks, this is a 2.0 earthquake. We've had 4.7s, 4.6s, 4.5s. They're not showing them here. Why not? I know for a fact that we've had 4.7 activity because I've seen it on the EMSC earthquake maps. Okay? They're just not showing it. Right here. Oh, wouldn't you know this? They don't like me showing their earthquake map. I'm having to get out and go back into it. Stand by, guys. This just takes a minute or so. And we're back. And we're back. Again, they don't want to be honest with us here. Let's go take a look at these red circled earthquakes. The red circles mean that these earthquakes just happened within the time that we've been on the air. This is a 1.9 tremor. This is a 1.5 tremor. This is a 2.0 earthquake. This one here is a 2.6 earthquake. This one here is a 2.7, and further north and east, this is 6 miles east of Ojai. It's a 1.6 tremor. Yes, we have 4.5s and everything else, but again, this agency does not even want to admit to it. Again, these earthquakes were felt all the way down here in Ventura, California. All the way down here in Ventura, California. All over the place. San Leandro, or not San Leandro, that's up in San Francisco Bay Area. But Camarillo, the Ventura area. We had Moore Park, which is just north of Los Angeles, up here. They felt it. Moore Park is up here. They felt it. All over Los Angeles, they felt it. Okay? Tomas is saying a 3.0 hit down in Indonesia in the Lombok region. That's what happens down there in Indonesia. Folks, what we're talking about here on the West Coast, those of you that have been with us for a long period of time, the entire West Coast of North America is a subduction zone. The Pacific Plate is subducting underneath the North American Plate. It's taking a nosedive into the center of the Earth. That is one of the reasons that we are getting earthquakes here. One of the biggest reasons we are getting earthquakes here is because of the subduction of the plate. Over here, right just west of the Cascadia subduction zone, we had a 2.9 earthquake off the coast of Barview, Oregon. A 2.9, 3.0 just off the coast of Barview, Oregon. This was on, not directly on, but just west of the Cascadia subduction zone. The Cascadia subduction zone is that red line that leaves Northern California and goes almost directly north, paralleling the coast of North America, going up past Vancouver Island and going up here to Queen Charlotte Island. Up here at Queen Charlotte Island, it meets up with the Juan de Fuca Fault to the west. This zigzag line, folks, is the Juan de Fuca Fault. The Juan de Fuca Fault meets up with the Blanco Fracture Zone right here. The Blanco Fracture Zone goes in a southeasterly direction here. Okay? It meets up with the Gorda Ridge here. We've had earthquakes up and down the Blanco Fracture Zone for several weeks now. 5.0s, 4.3s, 4.9s, all over this area, as well as a 3.0 right here on the Blanco Fracture Zone near the Gorda Ridge here. We've had earthquakes here on the Gorda Ridge as well. The Gorda Ridge leaves the Blanco Fracture Zone and heads south. Okay? It heads south here. It continues south until it reaches the Gorda Escarpment here. The Gorda Escarpment is way out here west of California here, out in the Pacific. As you can see, the Gorda Escarpment reaches over to the coast of California. It meets up with the Cascadia subduction zone and the San Andreas Fault. Right there. It's called the Triple Junction. Then, like I pointed out many times before, the San Andreas Fault continues out from the Gorda Escarpment and the Cascadia subduction zone, and it continues south along the coast of California. It continues south until it gets to, it reaches over land here just north of San Francisco Bay. It goes back into the water on the western side of San Francisco Bay. Then it goes over land again around Pacifica, California. And it continues south and eastbound. South and eastbound into California. All the way down here, continuing south, all the way through California here. It continues into California here in a southeasterly direction. all the way down here, passing Los Angeles to the east, over here, the Anza Gap area. It continues into northeast San Diego County, where we have the Anza Borrego Desert State Park. The Anza Borrego Desert State Park in northeast San Diego County. We've been having a lot of tremors and earthquakes over here in the Anza Gap, the Anza Borrego Desert area. Here we have a 0.5 microquake. This is on not the Elsinore Fault. Actually, this is the Elsinore Fault here. The Elsinore Fault. And it continues south. Okay? Borrego Springs, California. I'm sorry, this is not the Elsinore Fault. This is the San Jacinto Fault. The Elsinore Fault goes further west here. Leaves Elsinore, California way up here and goes south. Okay? Elsinore Palomar Observatory is on the Elsinore Fault. Palomar Observatory is in northeast San Diego County. It's a mountain range of 7,100 feet high. The Elsinore Fault continues south into Julian, California, the apple capital of California. Well, right now you can get a hot apple pie because they're picking apples right now in Julian, California. You can get hot apple pie and hot apple cider in Julian right now. You can get a great meal in Julian. You can browse the curio shops, the souvenir shops, and have a great dinner and hot apple pie and hot apple cider there in Julian. A wonderful place. I've been there. Okay? The Elsinore Fault continues south here. Just like we have the San Jacinto Fault here coming into Imperial County. Okay? The Anza Gap here. The Anza Borrego Desert State Park. Borrego Springs is right here, part of the Anza Borrego Desert State Park. You don't see any earthquakes here because USGS doesn't want to admit to them. I can guarantee you, beyond a shadow of a doubt, there are a lot of earthquakes and tremors all over this area. We have some small earthquakes out here at Naval Air Station El Centro. Naval Air Station El Centro. More earthquakes over here in El Centro. In El Centro here. Up here in the town of Imperial here. We have earthquakes here and tremors. A lot of them. Up here next to the Salton Sea. We have Calipatria here. I can guarantee you without a shadow of a doubt, there's about 150 earthquakes that have hit here in the Calipatria area today. Guaranteed, cotton pick-and-teed. Okay? As we move south here, we go down to Holtville, the Salton Sea Desert Research Station. I can guarantee you we have earthquakes here as well. It's a fact. It's a fact. Over here, okay, I want to back this out just a minute. Over here, you see the San Andreas Fault. It parallels the Salton Sea here. Where it goes underneath the Salton Sea, this is Bombay Beach. Again, I can guarantee you there's earthquakes here on the Bombay Beach seismogram. Guarantee it. Big earthquakes. 3.5, 4.0 earthquakes here. Where that great big huge San Andreas Fault goes underneath the Salton Sea here. It comes out over here near Calipatria, just south of the Salton Sea. And it continues all through the Imperial Valley. Continues all the way through the Imperial Valley and entering Mexico down here. It enters Mexico and it continues south. It skirts this volcano here. This is a Cerro Prieto volcano right here. The San Andreas Fault skirts the Cerro Prieto volcano. It continues south. We have earthquakes down here as well, but again, this agency doesn't want us to see them. Okay? Down here, this is Guadalupe, Victoria, BC, Baja California. This is where we had a 7.0, 7.1, possibly even up to an 8.0 magnitude earthquake, April 2010, right here. Guadalupe, Victoria, Baja California. Today, this is a 2.9, 3.0 magnitude earthquake at Guadalupe, Victoria, Baja California. Okay? Again, the San Andreas Fault continues down here. All the way down here into what? What is this called? The Gulf of California. It continues all the way down here into the Gulf of California. And we've been having earthquakes here all week. All this past week. Okay? It continues all the way down here through the mouth of Baja California. Then it mimics the coast of Mexico. There are earthquakes all over this region. Right here, this is the resort areas of Mexico. The resort areas of Mexico. Right here, this is Puerto Vallarta. Puerto Vallarta, there are earthquakes here today. Again, on the San Andreas Fault, there's earthquakes right here along the coast of all the resort areas here. Acapulco, Manzanillo, Zihuatanejo. This whole resort area here, we have earthquakes. All the way down here into southern Mexico. All over this area we have earthquakes, folks. But again, this agency won't show them because they don't believe they have to. Earthquakes down here in Guatemala. Earthquakes down here in El Salvador, Nicaragua, Costa Rica, and Panama. Colombia and Venezuela. Over here, folks, this is the border area of northern Peru and southern Ecuador. We have a 4.4 magnitude earthquake here. Look at this. This is sad. USGS showing 2 earthquakes, one in northern Peru and one here in northern Chile. This is the border area of Chile and Argentina. This is also a moderate 4.3 earthquake here. 36 miles west-southwest of Abra Pampa, Argentina. There's 20 to 30 earthquakes here in South America along the western shore of South America. They show us 2. That's a sad day. Down here in the South Sandwich Islands, we had a very large earthquake here. This is a 5.7 very large earthquake here in the South Sandwich Islands. This, folks, is going to move. This 5.7 earthquake here in the South Sandwich Islands is going to move east, and it's going to start going up the central mid-Atlantic fault here. We should see another 5.5, 5.4 earthquake here in the South Mid-Atlantic by Monday or Tuesday. Okay? Besides that, they're not showing anything in Africa, which is a falsehood. We've got earthquakes here in Africa as well. We have earthquakes over here in Spain. We have earthquakes over here in the Canary Islands. They refuse to talk about it. Sad. We have earthquakes over here in France, Switzerland, and Germany. We have 25 earthquakes here in Italy. Over here, USGS wants to tell us that we've had a 4.2 moderate earthquake here in Romania. We've had 3 of them. We've had 3 earthquakes hit in Romania today. They show us 1. They show us 1. Over here in Turkey, they're showing us a 4.1 over here in Göksun, Turkey. We've had 75 earthquakes here in Turkey and all over Turkey. Okay? They are not showing us anything. They say we've had 289 earthquakes around the world. I can guarantee you that there's close to 1,000 earthquakes literally around the world. Okay, see where that earthquake hit in Turkey that I've highlighted? We go south over here into Iran. This is a 4.1 moderate earthquake here in southern Iran. Where did it come from, I wonder? This is the area where the plate shifts here. Why? Folks, this is the edge of the plate. That's why. Notice the edge of the plate goes around Iran here. Okay? It goes up here. This is a 4.8 in Dupage, China. Then that same plate comes over here. Okay? What is this? The Himalaya range. It's the edge of the plate. Over here to the south, this is Myanmar. Notice the edge of the plate here. You see the red earthquake fault line here. A 4.7 moderate quake here. They've been calling them light quakes lately. Light, L-I-T-E. They are not light. They're moderate earthquakes, no matter what they say. They lie to us all the time. Over here, this is just south of eastern Java. This is a 4.5 near Zimbabwe, Indonesia, and it's not the only earthquake here. They're not showing us any earthquakes in the Philippines or Indonesia. That's a lie. That's an outright lie. Papua New Guinea here as well. Not showing anything. Over here in the Solomon Islands, they're just barely showing us a 4.9, 5.0 earthquake in the Solomon Islands here today. What kind of crap? They're hardly showing us anything in the South Pacific. Here's a 4.3 here near Levuka, Fiji, just south of there. This is a 4.6, 163 miles west-northwest of Huma, Tonga. Huma, Tonga. Earthquakes here in New Zealand. Why are we not seeing them? Earthquakes north of New Zealand over here in the Kermadec Islands. Why are we not seeing them? Inquiring minds want to know. Over here in Hawaii, we've got a swarm of earthquakes here. Why? Why? They're not even showing all the earthquakes around Kilauea today. Look at this. They're showing one earthquake on the southwestern side, actually not southwestern, southeastern side of Kilauea, Hillery crater. It's a 2.2 minor earthquake. North of there, we have a 2.3 here. Over at Mauna Loa, on the eastern flank of Mauna Loa, we have a 2.0. Notice here at these other volcanoes, Mauna Kea not showing anything. Hualalai over here to the west, not showing anything. We have earthquakes there. What is this over on the southwestern part of the Big Island? What is it? We have tremors over here. We have tremors and minor earthquakes. Why? This is a 3.3 here at Pahala. Look at all these other tremors and minor earthquakes. What are they? They're earthquakes. They're tremors. Why? Because Pahala is like the gas station of Hawaii. Way down in the South Pacific down here. Way down here in the South Pacific, there is a magma plume that's reaching up from the depths of the earth. Reaching up from the depths of the earth, a magma plume. The magma plume supplies magma to all the volcanoes around the world. And in this case here, over to Pahala, the magma plume goes over here just underneath Pahala, Hawaii. Pahala is the distribution point for all the magma to the volcanoes on the island. That's why Pahala gets hit all the time. Just off the coast, this is a 2.9, 3.0 magnitude earthquake. This is a 1.8, and this is a 1.7. Now, folks, we can't show it on this map, but there are underwater volcanoes. They're called seamounts. I believe that's why we're seeing earthquakes here. Underwater volcanoes, seamounts in this area. I know for a fact we have two of them closer to shore. One of them's name is Loihi. One day that volcano will reach the surface. The lava will reach the surface, and we will have either an addition onto the big island of Hawaii, or we'll have a separate island. Over here in Pahala, on land, 1.8, 1.7, 1.9, 2.0. This is a 2.0 here. Further north, this is a 3.3. This is a 1.8. And this is a 1.8. That's only what they're showing us here, guys. That's only what they're showing us. Like I said, over here by Kilauea, okay? You can see Kilauea here. This is not a recent photograph of Kilauea, because the lava caldera is much higher than it's showing here. This is a 2.2 earthquake just south of Kilauea. This is a 1.9, 2.0, and folks, we have one other here. This is a 2.3. We've had earthquakes and tremors surrounding the Kilauea Haleakala crater all week long. We and scientists have been looking at Kilauea because of all the earthquakes and tremors, and they've been thinking because of all that Kilauea is going to erupt again, and it still could. Again, they're not showing us all the seismic activity here in this area. They just never will. It's a proven fact. Spinderella says volcanism is your global warming, boiling pole shift is your climate change. Folks, if you want to listen to the elites of the world, they want you to believe that climate change is going to rock your world. It's not. They're lying to you. They're absolutely lying through their teeth. Their electric cars. Remember what Biden administration said? By 2035, they don't want to have any cars that are being sold as gasoline-bearing cars. Their electric vehicles are spreading more carbon dioxide than all the cars that exist, than all the other gas-burning vehicles that exist. Their electric cars are spreading CO2, carbon dioxide. And all the elites going to their big elite meetings in Europe, they're flying their own jet aircraft. They're contributing to global warming by flying their huge planes. Their carbon footprint is higher than any of ours, and yet they are blaming us for too much CO2 and global warming. It has nothing to do with you and I. They're just wanting control of all of us, and they're full of crap. Again, today, this afternoon, we've had a good-sized swarm of earthquakes over here near Ojai, California, just east of Santa Barbara. We've had a 5.5 that was downgraded to a 5.1 here. I don't think it will be the only one. I believe we're going to see more earthquakes there. Up here on the western side of the Sierras, okay, Walker Lane. This just happened. It's a 3.2 earthquake on the Walker Lane fault. On the Walker Lane fault. We've talked a lot about the Walker Lane fault. Why? Because, folks, this fault area is booming. Why? Because one day into our future, you're going to find out that the Walker Lane fault stretches from Northern California all the way down here into Baja California, down here into the Gulf of California. If you go to the Navy map on Google, find the Navy map, you're going to see a very interesting thing happen. You're going to see an inland sea stretching from the Gulf of California all the way up the eastern Sierras, all the way over here to this area that just had the quake, the 3.2 here on the Walker Lane fault near Walker, California. But what they don't tell you is the Walker Lane fault stretches all the way up here to Pyramid Lake in Northern California. And did you know that Pyramid Lake is in and of itself a volcano? A volcano. Just southwest of Pyramid Lake. This is Spanish Springs, Nevada. This is a 2.5 earthquake. A 2.5 earthquake. That is our quake report for you today. We've shown you a lot of activity that they haven't shown you. And I guarantee and frickin' know that we had earthquakes in Washington and Oregon today. And we've had volcanic activity at every one of the volcanoes in the Pacific Northwest today. They're just not showing it because they don't have to. Okay? It's unreal, guys. It's unreal. They're only showing what they want us to know about. Nothing more. Mammoth volcano, guys. Just really briefly. Mammoth volcano. Over here is Mono Lake. This is a volcano. You see that island in the middle of Mono Lake? That is the summit of the Mono Lake volcano. Over here, just south and west of Mono Lake, we have Mammoth Volcano. We have earthquakes hitting here and tremors. Over here is Long Valley Volcano. The Long Valley Caldera. It's a super volcano. We have earthquakes here as well. They're just not showing them. Earthquakes everywhere, guys. Earthquakes everywhere. Do we have any questions? I know I've taken you on a tour of the United States and the world. I know it's been quick, in fact. Okay? I fully intended only talking about the Ojai, California earthquake and all the tremors here. It's a big deal. Tomorrow they're going to reduce this to almost nothing because they can. Jill LeBlanc says this is so biblical. You're right. You're absolutely right. Linda Covington in the chat says EMA Ronald L. Tyler gets an award for 3 live broadcasts today in a 24-hour period and still counting. The day is not yet over. Yeah. And it's 11:05 p.m. Almost 11:05 p.m. Eastern Time. I did it because I can. I wanted to figure out my microphone and audio status here, but we've done it. We've done it. Do we have any questions before I end this broadcast? Do we have any questions? The one whom Jesus loves says, Ron is the one I look for in an emergency. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Just so you know, Maui isn't completely set when it comes to the fires. We still have 2 fires being put out on Maui today. We have all kinds of news coming out of Maui. Some of it is not good. And I will try to cover that information tomorrow during the day. I just don't feel like talking about it tonight. And it's nothing on top of the world to talk about either. So I'm going to not go there tonight. Maui is still recovering. I ask special prayers on the island of Maui and its people, and the Hawaiian people in general. They all lost loved ones 2 weeks ago. They need our prayers. They need our help. God bless those people on Maui. The death toll is 116 people and counting. It'll be a lot more within the next 24 hours. Count on that. Count on a lot of children in those numbers as well. Tomas is saying a 1.9 in the Strait of Gibraltar. That area, guys, that area around the Strait of Gibraltar, that's not the only earthquake there today. The Strait of Gibraltar on the east side of the Strait of Gibraltar gets hit all the time. There's probably 6 or 8 earthquakes over there right now. Is there anything else any of you want to know about before we hang it up here? You have 142 thumbs up, which we greatly appreciate. We have 144 people still watching, which I greatly appreciate as well. Folks, if you haven't seen either of the other 2 broadcasts that we've done today, please go look at them. We taught Sunday school this morning. You may want to go look at our Sunday school broadcast as well. It's about an hour long. But there's a lot of good information there. Folks, I know this is Sunday. I know it is Sunday. There's a lot of things we can talk about on a Sunday broadcast. I've taught quite a bit about Jesus Christ and our Heavenly Father. I've talked quite a bit about him. Two more things before we hang it up. Today, probably because of the storm, both northbound and southbound I-15 are closed near L Street in Barstow, California, after a utility pole was struck by lightning around 11:30 a.m. I-15 traffic south and northbound has been halted. The power lines that go across the freeway, as a precaution, the California Highway Patrol has shut it down until further notice. Okay? One more thing. I wanted to show you this at the end of our broadcast. If you love someone, set them free. If you dislike someone, set them free. Basically, set everyone free and get a dog. People are annoying. Get a dog. People are annoying. I just want to leave you with that message. I thought it was semi-funny, but guess what? It's true. Those of us with dogs in our life are healthier. I think we may even be wiser. And we sure get a lot of love from those dogs in our life. I saw several short films today of dogs giving their masters love. I saw a film from Hawaii. A dog that lost part of its leg after the fire. A stray. Someone out on the side of the road at one of the police barricades saw this little white dog limping and crying out for attention in the middle of the road. A passerby picked it up, put it in the back of his truck, and it was crying all the way over to the truck. He put it in the back of his truck, took it to a dog park, cleaned it up, fixed the remaining part of its leg. The dog was wagging its tail and barking in happiness instead of in pain. Dogs are wonderful. Please, folks, don't let a dog suffer. Help them, love them, give them food and plenty of tenderness, and you will have love for the rest of your lives. God gave us dogs. I believe that. There's a whole story behind that I won't even share tonight. But God gave us dogs. Guys, I hope you have a good night and a better tomorrow. If anything else happens tonight, we'll be back on the air to tell you about it as the information becomes available. Until then, God be with you until we meet again. Folks, I love you. I care about you. I ask the Lord to bless you always in the name of Jesus Christ, our Savior. Amen. Good night, folks.